Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand finals of the Overwatch Open Qualifier week number 3 for North America, TSM versus FNATIC. And though we've had a lot of drama here today, Josh, between these two teams, FNATIC now up 2-0, and this is now do or die for TSM.
Yeah, and it's some of the most exciting games that we've had all weekend. They are not disappointing. Coming into this semifinals, I actually had no idea who had the hot hand. Could have been Liquid, could have been NRG as well, but FNATIC definitely showing off their strengths throughout the semifinals and the finals so far. TSM have a long road ahead of them if they're going to try and win 3 in a row against this squad.
Yeah, again, TSM, they have to do the reverse sweep, and it is difficult because FNATIC, they have been on the rise, but they have never looked better than they do this week right now. And it's going to be up to TSM to somehow stop their rampage in our next map, going to be Dorado.
Oh, sorry. Do you think there's something to be said about being picked up by an organization? Do you think it adds motivation, pressure, all that stuff?
I think in general that does seem to be the case. I would argue that NIP, formerly SG1, played a little bit above their weight class. They didn't win in the way that they would have liked, but they still went further in the tournament than has been expected. Certainly too strong. Now the new LG had a great showing today, taking out Creation Esports, and right now you're taking a look at FNATIC. I would say that their days as FNATIC have been more fruitful than their days when they were known as Nubris.
Yeah, and some people saying, at least theorizing on Twitter, that FNATIC being, the well-established org, resourceful org, I'll say, have the opportunity to put these guys in a team house. If they continue performing the way that they're doing, I don't see why not. And it seems to be paying off very well for Envious. I know that Sea Algae, going down the ladder a bit, they've got 3 guys living in a house together, and they've had their best performance ever.
Right, and team houses, those are one of the things in esports where you go, does it make a difference? Well, it depends. Sometimes you put people together personality-wise where they actually don't get together long in person, but if you get the right crew together and you give them a more regimented practice structure that a team house can provide, it works well. And there's probably no better example than Envious,
right? But
it'll be interesting to see how other teams go if they get that same level of support.
And it's interesting to note, again, FNATIC is an international team right now. They've got IDDQD and Vonathil both playing from Europe. Well, I believe is Custa is North American.
I believe so.
Okay, so I believe it is 4 one way, 2 the other, whereas Envious is 4 Europeans and 2 North Americans.
Hang on, let's go down on it. Just going the EU. IDDQD is in the
Sweden
EU right now.
Mm-hmm.
Vonathil is in the EU.
Yep. And Custa's the only one I'm not sure, but Buds is definitely North America.
Buds is NA, Coolmat is NA.
Yes.
Coolmat's actually, I think, up in Indiana. He's actually not even that far away from me.
You should hang out sometime, play some Overwatch.
I think he's like a 4-hour drive. Yeah. Dude, you say that legit, it might happen.
It could. I think they are an NA org, primarily 4 against 2, just because they are playing in the NA event. And if they had 4 Europeans living primarily in Europe, they would be playing in that cup. As we actually had FaZe about a month ago with half and half, and it was kind of a question. It's like, what are they NA or the EU? And they actually were allowed to pick, basically, if they were locked
FaZe,
in.
They're a bit of an enigma, of course. I don't even think they participated today. I might be wrong, or if they did participate, they got knocked out really early. So FaZe, of course, a big name in the esports world, not quite getting traction here in the scene thus far.
Yeah, they're kind of the poster boy for the early investing organization not actually getting their full pay, or sorry, their full value out of the acquisition just yet. Mendo is, of course, a tremendous talent, so as long as he's on FaZe's squad, I have to imagine they're going to be resurfacing at some point.
Well, that's always hard for organizations getting the esports, where a lot of teams and orgs have taken a gamble, where you take a look at teams like, we mentioned some of the teams that haven't done as well, Splice, FaZe. Cloud9, they had about 2 good weeks of results under their belt before their Jack saw them and picked them up. And that was the other end of the spectrum, where they took a chance on a team that had promised but wasn't fully proven yet, and they got paid off handsomely.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
We are moving on to Dorado.
Dorado, a full payload map, unlike Hollywood and Kings Row, where you have to capture a point. This one just starts out with the payload. We've seen it a number of times throughout the tournament today. Of course, you guys playing Overwatch yourselves in the chat are super familiar with the map. We've seen strategies actually evolve on this map, perhaps more than any other, as now the attackers are basically moving around the left side steps quite often, and I don't think the defenses have really figured out exactly what to do against that just yet.
No, there's a lot of different looks that an offense can throw at a defense here, and it's variable. Every now and then we will see a good hold on first. Of course, we saw that earlier today with FNATIC versus NRG. But Dorado, probably one of the most varied maps here. It's up there with Hollywood in terms of change-ups. I would say in this meta, Dorado actually might be the most varied. And take a look here at this defense coming out from TSM. Harblue going to be on the Zarya, Joe Meister on Lucio, Shake on Zenyatta, Torque on the Tracer, JKW and Reinhardt, Nicholas rounding things out on the Reaper.
And as the doors open for the offense, we see nearly a mirror. Buds is going to be on the Genji, of course, rather than the Reaper. Makes sense, as his mobility is definitely going to come into play. He gets a few free shots there, sizes up the defense, able to communicate back what he sees. He is actually going toward the shortcut now. There is a further back shortcut near the church that players have started to use because Zenyatta, always posted back here, is able to call those out. Buds now, with the Discord Orb on him, is going to be trackable by that Zenyatta, but he's still going to get a lot of free damage in the front line, pushing that cart up to the point that we always see.
And they keep out that damage that builds for Dragon Blade, but here we go. The offensive Fnatic moving in, and Bud's coming in right in off the flank, going the sports team. IDDQD on the Hard Blue right away, but Nicholas and Torque will be the bruisers. They take out 2 immediately, but look at IDDQD. He's still in the back. He's being a surgeon. He's picked off 2 here thus far, and let me remind you that pickoffs here for the offense are much more valuable than pickoffs for the defense, as IDDQD on a triple kill continues his reign of terror.
Yeah, when point A defense starts to fall, it really falls. Joe Meister going down now as well. IDDQD just putting on a show. Tracer getting multiple kills, and Torque is going to be the last one to fall. Buds and IDDQD did so much work at the tanks and supports for FNATIC, just pushing the cart along, letting them do the dirty work. TSM will have to reset. Torque might even respawn. Yeah, he respawns even farther back from the rest of the team, but they are, of course, all going to group up. They're going to try and take this high ground. IDDQD, already knowing this, is going to get up in their faces, prevent them from really getting the spot that they want, but the payload is going to continue to move. IDDQD gets taken out, and the payload's still in that point A area.
Yeah, IDDQD finally taken out, but he effectively put FNATIC on his back there, and now you look at the rest of FNATIC, they have been charging up ults here. Here comes the Graviton from Coolmat. Bud saying, I want some of that, gets the triple kill off of the Graviton. IDDQD have to fall through. A full team wipe coming out here from FNATIC, and they won't get second point entirely off this, but Joshy, they're going to be close.
Yeah, that was actually a ridiculous Dragon Blade. I think one swipe actually got 3 kills, and that just hurts. The defense morale has to be pretty low right now. They're not, if you look at this, there's no defense anywhere. They're just cruising past the church. That is one of the hardest points to push past normally, but the combination there just allowing them so much space. And look at this, IDDQD just waiting with the pulse bomb. The rest of the teammates are going to be able to call them out. Actually, Sound Barrier all the way back out of the cart. We've got the defense all over the place.
Yeah, the defense went very far out. This could either work super well or be a terrible disaster. Right now, it's trending towards the ladder. The pulse bomb is out, blows up Torque. 65 here for FNATIC, and they have a positioning edge. We'll see if it works out. Harblu, though, being the rock, does take out 2, but once more, no one's on IDDQD, and he's surgically attacking area in the backline. Finally, Winston turns to him, and maybe Harblu and Winston will be able to take this out, but works out for TSM.
I can't believe he survived there with only 10 health, manages to triple blink over to the full heal. I was actually surprised he even stuck around after some of his teammates started to fall. Winston looked at him and I thought, get out of there, Tracer, but he lasts quite a lot longer. However, TSM finally going to get a grip on things. JKW needs to be on Tracer duty here, and as well as Genji duty, as Winston, of course, his lightning does go through that deflect. He's going to be the best suited for it. Torque on Genji himself now off of the... Actually, it was Tracer and Reaper, or sorry, yeah, it was Tracer and Reaper. Now we've got Tracer and Genji.
We'll take a look here, FNATIC. Not as much of an edge now. It was a good defense from TSM to really go in and push it back. Both teams trading out here. Sound Barrier being it was not dropped, in fact.
Not just yet.
Either way, both teams getting into it right now. Sound Barrier now finally goes down here from TSM. Torque able to take out Coolmat here. But IDDQD, the Pulse Bomb connects. A triple kill once more. And Dorado, thus far for FNATIC, has truly been the IDDQD show.
Kaboom. Once again, Graviton Surge and Pulse Bomb combining for multiple kills. Everything working out for FNATIC in that one. 5 minutes left just in the last stretch. Have to feel good about that. Every attack will take about 45 seconds to a minute, depending on how long they stretch out. But multiple attempts available for FNATIC to try and set a time. And at this pace, I expect them to do it in 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, FNATIC is just rolling here. This is bad news bears for TSM. We'll see if they continue their trend of coming out with a good defense right towards the end. If that's going to happen, Torque is going to be the one to watch here. Dragon Blade at the ready. Shake able to go in here. They will have some ults up here in a moment, so TSM will have tools here, Josh, for the next thing. But here comes Torque. Dragon Blade at the ready. Will force out the defensive transcendence from FNATIC, and they punish Torque in turn. 65 for FNATIC. If they get a full wipe here, that could be it.
Yeah, dominoes are starting to fall. JKW falls as that Winston. Joe Meister taking a lot of damage now. Graviton Surge comes out. The last 2 members of FNATIC actually... several of them caught, but no one going down. Bud's actually getting multiple kills still. Harblu and Joe Meister go down, and suddenly FNATIC have a ton of room. They're going to go up in the face of the spawn, and Winston gets his ult just in time to smack Tracer away. He's going to be able to camp their spawn exit.
All right, and FNATIC right now on potentially match point. If this is a super quick time, TSM will be on their heels. TSM will have one more chance to come out and defend this, but the ult advantage is with FNATIC. Buds is going to be able to Death Blossom. Vonethil on the sound barrier comes out right now, and they're looking for the kill. 3 extra kills coming in, and this is bad for TSM. It would take a miracle for them to bring this back now, as FNATIC cleaning everything up.
Torque and Nicholas both fall. They are basically the best contesters available. Death Blossom going off in celebration. Did not need it to finish up that map there. And again, this is a 9-minute map, so 5.5 minutes, under 5.5 minutes. Very good push for FNATIC. TSM, if trends go the same way, I think they're going to make it really close and just fall short.
Yeah, given what we've seen here in the last 2 maps, I expect TSM to get right to the end, have like 45 seconds left, and then fail.
Make us freak out, and that's what they'll do. We'll get a string of ultimates that you know, bring us hope, and then it'll come crashing down around them. Now, hopefully, TSM does actually put something together. This is their last chance, essentially, down 2-0 in this best of 5, and if they can beat a 5-minute 21-second, we get treated to Hanamura or Anubis, but things are looking pretty stacked against them right now.
The cool thing here for TSM is if they do end up beating this time, Hanamura and Anubis are not maps that teams have really well practiced, and they're somewhat of a wild card. TSM has a legit chance of bringing this back if they can win here in Dorado. This is their hardest test going forward. But taking a look here at the FNAC defense as it rolls out, it's going to be Buds here on the defensive Reaper, Cool Matt on the Zarya, Custa going to be on Zenyatta, IDD QD on McCree, Stoop on the Reinhardt, and Vonethil, the final piece as that audio medic on Vonethil.
Yep.
Or on Lucia.
On the Vonethil.
On Vonethil, being played by
What
Vonethil.
a surprise! Vonethil choosing Vonethil of all characters. But no, we do have a pretty traditional defense. This is the same thing we saw out of them on the defense for King's Row even, so not shaking things up at all. TSM looks like they're not going with a Genji. They do still have some time to switch it up, but Torque and Nicholas look like they are opting for the Reaper Tracer. Nicholas likely going to be flanking around, looking for the soft, squishy targets in the back. 10 seconds to go. Looks like they may be sticking with this, but otherwise looking very standard as well. Reinhardt and Zarya are what you're going to see on payload primarily.
Alrighty, well the gates are open. The timer has begun here for TSM. They are going to need the move with a lot of haste here, moving forward. Harblue leading the way.
Harblue just launching those Zarya bombs upward while the enemy Zarya, Cool Matt just lobbing them down, both trying to build up their energy as quick as they can. Harblue already at 80%, 90%, 100%, really on point with those Zarya bubbles, and as the payload reaches this very common choke point, usually you'll see teams loop around. Yeah, they are poised for it. Will they use, oh, they might be doing a mind game here. Yeah, they are. They're going to speed boost through the choke itself.
Yeah, they thought they were going to go left. They went up the middle instead. They pick up 2 kills from that bluff. Not a bad engage here from TSM. They get what more will be ideal, but no, IDD, QD, and Cool Matt coming back in, taking some of the steam out of this push, but look at Shake. The Zenyatta cleanup is real, and even though FNAC should hold here for now, TSM will be able to reinforce quicker, and they will have a much better chance of getting in.
Poor Joe Meister lingering on the point, pushing the payload as far as he possibly could, as the rest of his team died around him, was forced to go as well. But Nicholas and Torque, as you mentioned, they're going to be able to get back to the cart pretty quickly here. Nicholas dueling with the Reaper of Buds at the moment, just giving him a little bit of ult charge. It's kind of a scary proposition, so he's going to back off. Doesn't feel confident in getting the kill, but we will engage once again. Cool Matt dropping the Graviton Surge on the side of the defense, catches several members. Transcendence out now as well. IDDQD trying to focus down whatever he can. It looks like Zarya is in his sights, but so far all the kills trading sides. Great pulse bomb again from IDDQD, just showing us amazing play on Tracer.
IDDQD has continued to be the glue that holds TSM together through, or sorry, holds FNAC together through this entire set here thus far. It has actually been absurd what he has done for their team. I mean, going against NRG, now going against TSM, he has been phenomenal in the set. So yeah, really good stuff coming out here from the side of IDDQD. And right now, time-wise, TSM cannot be happy. They really need to get through the next push.
IDDQD also one of the top ranked players as well. But Pulse Bomb, Graviton Surge combo again. Vonethil gets taken out. Sound Barrier on the side of the offense is going to allow them a lot of room to work with. But all the kills going the way of the defense again. Torque gets the kill on Stoop. Cool Matt down as well. Tanks are gone. Can Harblue and team continue this push? No, IDDQD and Bud still alive, getting all the kills they need to stop the cart once again.
Well, now we're under 3 minutes left here, so think about how quick of a time this would have to be for TSM to bring this back. Also, a minute 30 on the point, so they might not even have that luxury. I thought last push was do or die. If that wasn't it, then certainly this push is do or die for TSM. If they get stopped here, that is going to be game. Nicholas moves to the back now on Tracer, looking for the pickoff, but IDDQD gets to the back line himself. Shake is down. It is a 2-kill advantage right now for FNATIC. In comes the Earth Shatter from JKW, knocks down IDDQD, but he dies right after, and Bud's picking up the slack, about to get the double kill of his own. This could not be worse for TSM right now.
The sound barrier coming out from FNATIC kept everyone alive. They were actually dipping quite low. TSM could have potentially wiped them there, but as IDDQD finally died, Buds did pick up the mantle and was able to secure those kills.
All right, well, Bud's right now looking to put the dagger in the heart of TSM, setting up here on the Death Blossom. This could be game-ending. This could be huge. He's going to drop in. Here comes the Q. A double, now triple kill for Buds, setting it up, takes out Lucio, make it 5, and Buds has just killed TSM.
Game over, man. Game over. TSM. Very, very unlikely they're going to be able to beat them in at 44. They may as well throw in the towel. That was just the perfect timing, perfect positioning. They had no idea Reaper was there, and they paid for it. Now, they are going to continue pushing. Of course, you don't want to just give up the grand finals when you're still in it. Earthshatter comes out. Everything's still going FNATIC's way. There are a couple of kills from Torque. That shows a glimmer of hope. Nicholas trying to get that kill on Custa, does find it, but time has actually run out. Overtime for the first point here.
Yeah, the problem here is that even if they go through and get this point, what does it matter? There's a minute 13 left. There's just no way that they're going to be able to come in and get this to the end in 1 minute. Mathematically, I don't even think it's possible. So for TSM, that is a case of too little, too late. They need to do that several pushes ago. And FNATIC going to finish out the series 3-0. So a great showing by them. And really contributions all around. Bud's doing all sorts of work there in the end. IDDQD, of course, probably being the standout player, but very solid tank play from Stoop and Coolmat also. Yeah,
I love seeing the good Death Blossoms. Gotta say it again, another Pulse Bomb comes out and finds his target. Joe Meister going down. We are, ticking down the time. You know as well as I do, ZP, that this is all but done. Really, it's just gonna come down to the GGs. Of course, the casters are not in a position to stop anything, so we're just gonna keep casting as long as things are happening. But yeah, this one is done and dusted, to adopt the British phraseology that I've heard a million times this weekend.
Machine's here at the desk. He just nodded.
Yeah,
there's
like, the GGs.
You know it.
Yeah, GG's finally coming out, and FNATIC will be our third North American team to make it straight to the playoffs. Well played all weekend. Here's some highlights for you guys.
Highlights coming out, and just see Coolmat, good solid play throughout the series. Again, for FNATIC, it was a team effort, but man, if IDDQD was not impressive. He actually had a few moments, not in the last week, but a week before that, it was like, maybe not the best games for IDDQD, but he definitely went to the lab, practiced up, and came out on fire here tonight, both against NRG and TSM. What more can you say?
Really just that IDDQD is a superstar. He's just, again, I mentioned it briefly during the match there, he's one of the top competitive players in the world, one of the very, #1 for quite a while there over rank 80.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing well, and that's what FNATIC needs to really take the next step. And right now, I mean, I'm not going to say that they're going to beat Envious, but I would be curious to see a game of FNATIC versus Envious.
I'm ready.
If they could bring the same level of play into that series that they did here tonight. And as the night winds down, what are your thoughts here, Machine?
My thoughts are that's a very good prospect. The idea of seeing Envious now versus FNATIC. We said they were hot in the semi-final. Yeah. We admitted it. We acknowledged it, right? We said this is a hot FNATIC. They made it abundantly clear that that was not a fluke, that we have got to look forward towards it, and they've gone and done it absolutely again. Another example, prime example, that there is, going to be some competition at the top. 54 games unchallenged, 54 games, without a loss. Envious will encounter some friction. There will be some competition. It's just a question and a matter of time. I do want to address the IDDQD situation. I know you guys made it abundantly clear in the cast, but the fact that it's not a McCree player that we're highlighting is actually really quite good, right? Like, we were kind of singing the praises of IDDQ throughout that, and he was persistently hanging out with Tracer. That's one of the first times I think we've chosen an MVP that hasn't at one point or another been playing McCree. Yes, IDDQD is known for his McCrees. We saw it in the semis. But good to see a persistent Tracer picking up the MVP. And actually, the person who picked up the play of the game was neither. We got to see a Reaper go ahead and deliver on all cylinders. It's kind of easy to see the Death Blossom and does bloom often quite brightly here in Overwatch. We'll be seeing him once again pick up the play of the game. We'll be seeing who's wielding it. It's none other than Buds. You saw it before. You'll see it again. Backs turned, and from the heavens, he does descend and mows them down through a sound wave nonetheless. Nice work from him as he does dispatch of numerous adversaries, and that's going to be just another individual that has probably not gone unmentioned throughout this. I mean, this is another individual that we are just kind of praising at this point in time from FNATIC.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes you'll see the tanks last the longest in the fights. This time it's IDD, QD, and Buds always just lasting forever. And it has, of course, to do with the survivability of both Reaper and Tracer being able to blink away, Wraith walk away as needed. But they're on top of it. They know how to use those defensive cooldowns.
And you can see it there. Your qualifier winner is FNATIC. They join the North American giants that are Cloud9 and Envy. One more spot does remain. We'll have a look at that leaderboard now just to put it into perspective for you. It's a lot easier when you can see it on your screens. And so Envy, Cloud9, and FNATIC. And the points have been updated. You can see 52 now for TSM and NRG. Those guys are locked in now. They are comfortably going to be securing those playoff spots after just showing up for the past 3 weeks. And alongside that, you can see Liquid, Sodipop, and Splice. Those guys, in fact, all of those. Look at that stack of teams between Selfless and Sodipop, the S's. You're going to be seeing those guys going a little bit mad next week. It's going to be a big battle to just make sure they show up into the round of 16. That's what it's going to be. That's going to be the competition.
Everything looked great from FNATIC this week. They're happily going to take that automatic playoff spot. And like you said, NRG and TSM both with a bajillion points. One of them likely to get the automatic spot next week. We'll see.
Yeah. And we talked about North America, of course, in Europe. I know it's done and dusted now. This has been North America. But you did see Reunited pick up the spot alongside the boys from Rogue and Misfits. So there is still one spot available in Europe, and that's going to be battled for the guaranteed playoff spot, of course, battled for in the grand final next week. God, it's our third week already, boys. Second week for you. Joshi, this has been your last?
Yeah, I'm leaving, flying in, some number of hours back to North America. So I won't be on the cast next week. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat, for the kind words and the tweets and everything throughout these last couple of weekends, but I am returning home. I'll be in Las Vegas next weekend, so don't feel too bad for me.
Okay.
It's like it's going to be sad times, but then Vegas. So.
Yeah, I'm going to be in a desert, and there's going to be lots of debauchery. All right, well, Josh is going to be having a lot of fun. You will still have CP, though. You're going to be sticking around, right? So we'll be seeing you next week?
I will be here for the week. In fact, hoping to see more of London over.
You do need to. No excuses.
I know. I do need to. Yeah. I've already ran a double-decker bus, but that doesn't cut it. Have a few sites in mind to see for the next week, so it should be fun.
Okay, cool. So you just go in a telephone box. That's another exciting thing. You literally named the most boring thing in London. Yeah. Well, I saw a bus.
Yeah, there's buses everywhere. But hey, look,
what else is there?
You don't have red double-decker buses in the States, or at least not as a normal thing.
All right. Well, ZP's going to go see the sites for the week. You guys do be sure to check out the sites over at overwatchopen.com. That's what you should be checking out. That has got all the information you need about this tournament that we are having a lot of fun with. And of course, the hashtag, as always, has been and will be OW Open. Guys, this has been the Overwatch Open's third week done and dusted. Just for you, Joshy.
Yep,
saying goodbye
again
to you.
And again.
It knows it's coming.
So much dust everywhere.
Hey, why is it dusted? Someone tell us on OW Open. Right now, though, we do take a break. And when we come back next week, we have our final concluding week. 2 more spots can be picked up through the grand finals. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.